People do not know what the Gestapo really means, the word Gestapo. It means political police. Policies are created by politicians, political people, persons. And so they enforce political policies. They don't enforce law. The Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence, that are laws. The Declaration of Independence is a law for Americans. The Bill of Rights and the amendments to the Constitution are the laws that the government are to obey. The Constitution was created as law for the persons in government to obey. Because that is what it was created for. To protect the American people and their rights of law under the Bill of Rights, that are laws. They're laws. They uphold, which means defend, or enforce. Uphold means enforce. You enforce the laws of the U.S. Constitution. That's the Bill of Rights and the amendments to the U.S. Constitution of law. And the state's constitutions of laws, and it says any laws thereafter. But it is also stated that any law that is created, regulations, policies, and whatever else, that goes against the laws of the U.S. Constitution are considered null and void. All y'all have to do is look this up. Are any laws repugnant to the laws of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, null and void when created to go against the U.S. Constitution of laws? They're laws. It's not just a Constitution. They got you thinking it's just a Constitution. Oh, you're one of those Constitution sovereign citizens. You're for the Constitution and laws that I swore an oath to uphold, which means enforce. Look up the definition of the word uphold. They're not upholding the laws of the U.S. Constitution first, because that's what they're asked to do, is uphold the U.S. Constitution. That's the first thing said. The state constitutions and the laws created thereafter. The U.S. Constitution is first. That's what they swear an oath to uphold first, is the laws of the U.S. Constitution. You are not a law-abider if you say fuck the laws of the U.S. Constitution that was created in 1787 to protect the American people from the U.S. government. There was no such thing as U.S. citizens back in 1787, back in 1776. There was no such thing until after 1871. Or I'll just say 1860. After 1860, there was no such thing as a U.S. citizen. There was not. You can do the research. Instead of just believing what you want and what stupid other idiots think that has not done their full and complete research on the laws and the definition of the laws under Black's Law's Dictionary. Black's Law's Dictionary gives you the definition of every law that the government has created, every law in the U.S. Constitution, every law in the Declaration of Independence. If you cannot read them and the maxims of law, which is we are supposed to be under the law of God, we're supposed to be ruled over by God, that's what it states in the maxims of law and tort laws. If you cannot study them, you don't know what you're talking about. They will not teach you those laws in any law school. They're a fraud. They're ran by the government. Law schools and high schools and colleges and elementary, they're all ruled over and controlled by the government, and the government says what they can teach you and what they cannot teach you. They don't teach the Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence anymore in schools. They actually getting to where they don't teach math like they're supposed to in schools. They're not teaching you about history the way they're supposed to teach it, like I was taught it. They change everything in the history books every year. Every year they change what's in the books to fit their narrative. And then you sit here and believe them without question. You don't look back at the school books you can find in libraries, I believe, even on the internet, that were taught in schools in the 1960s, and then look at what they're taught today. Read the history books. Read them both, and you'll see a lot of good truth that wasn't written in those history books in the 60s, the 50s, the 70s. You'll see that it's way different from what we were taught, and our parents and our grandparents and great-grandparents were taught in school. Because they've been lying to us. They have been wanting everyone to think like they think. If you are against them, you are their enemy. That's what the king in Britain said to George Washington. If you are not for us and you are against us, you are our enemy. George Washington became their enemy because he did not want to abide by a ruler. Because God is our ruler, not a man, not a human. You want guns taken out of my hands or anybody else's hands? Well, guess what? If I want a gun, all I have to do is become a cop, become one of them, a political enslaver of the people. Because that's what cops are. They're political enslavers. They enforce policies of the politicians. Politicians create policies out of politics. And that's what they are. They are Gestapo, political policy enforcers. They don't enforce law. The government tells them to tell you it's law. Because that's who they work for. That's their boss. If you was their boss, if they was public servants, and they acted like public servants, and you're part of the public, even if they pull you over, you're part of the public. And you're their boss. They're your servants. But you don't want to see that. You want to laugh and say, they're not our servants. When it plainly states in government law that they are our servants. You can look it up. They're supposed to obey we the people. They're supposed to obey us if they're our public servants. I'm part of the public. But they don't want you to know that. They want you to think the way you think. You are their servant. You work for them. You give them money when they give you a ticket. You work for them. You're doing business with them when they pull you over to write you a ticket to get money out of you. That's what a business does. They ain't selling nothing to you. They're forcing money from you as a business. And you have to go to the courthouse of business and try to get out of it, in which they railroad you so they can get that money out of your pocket so they can exist. They cannot exist without forcing money out of your pockets. That's the only way they can exist. They get funding from the U.S. government, and that's who they work for. The U.S. government says, I'll give you money, funding, but you're going to do it your job my way. So you can get that money. You say that's what De Castro on Delete Laws did to that one guy? Oh, you're going to do this and then you get your money. Well, that's the same thing government does to these police. These departments of authority that the Constitution gave them no right to create and then use upon the people. But y'all don't want to read the U.S. Constitution and learn that the Constitution of law. You don't want to read the laws. You don't want to be proven wrong. That's narcissists. Narcissists can never be proven wrong. Narcissists never do any wrong. You know, they think they're always right. Then they turn around, oh, I got to make fun of this person. I got to call them names. I got to make fun of that person and call them names and just make fun of them. And that's all they do. They don't look to be educated. They look to make fun of other people to make money. And it's all based upon their opinions and the lies they were taught by authority. And the media, and TV, and the movies that ain't real. They're not real life. They're there to brainwash you. Tell you their vision of the way life is, which is a lie. They don't teach you about real life in schools. They don't teach you how to write checks. They don't teach you how the tax system works. They don't teach you anything. They don't teach you what the all caps name means, why it was created. That all caps name that's on your driver's license, your debit card, your bank cards, anything you sign with a company, that all caps name. Really, sit there and think about it. Why do they do that? Why do they put my name in all caps? It's so they can do business with you and make money off of you. And so the government can use that against you when you have to go to court on crap that they created under what's called legalese. You will not look up the difference between legalese and common law because you don't want to be educated. You want to be dumb and blind and a sheep to the government. That's who we call people that are sheep, that follow and obey and do what the government wants. Everybody else is doing it, so I'll be a sheep and I'll follow everybody else and do what they're doing right off a cliff. That's what sheep will do. They follow each other off a cliff. And if they go astray, the leader kills them. If you go astray like me, I become your enemy, or I become their enemy, and they will kill me, will murder me, really. They will murder me because I don't want to follow them and do what they want like a sheep. You are a sheep. You're a wussy. You can't open your mind to the fact that you're wrong because that's what narcissists are. That's who they are. They obey authority and they play along and they parrot them like a parrot. You know, right, sovereign citizen, right, you're for the U.S. Constitution, right, you're for law, right, the laws of the land. The U.S. Constitution, by law, in the government documents, is the laws of the land. And that's what we're all to obey, and nothing else, like it states in there, shall not be infringed, shall not be violated. Look up 18 U.S. Codes 241 and 242. Look up 42 U.S. Code 1983. Look up 18 U.S. Code 248. These are codes that they are to obey, not us. They're not written for us. They're written for the government, the officials, the persons in government. That's what they're all created for. They're not created for us. Statutes, codes, regulations, mandates, policies, ordinances, edicts, mandates, they're not written for us. They're written for foreign business. Commerce was not created for the everything that has to do with a so-called motor vehicle. Commerce was created for the government to do business with people from other countries. Oh, you want to come in this country and create a business in this country, but it's a foreign business? We have the right to regulate your commerce because you're under our control. You signed a contract to do business with the government. I didn't sign no contract to do business with the government under commerce. And if you call signing to get a license, a contract to do business, well, I was tricked into it. Told I had to have it to be able to drive on the highways and stuff. Look at what the back of your driver's license says, what you're transporting. Are you transporting any of that? Because that's business. Does your vehicle weigh 16,000 pounds? Does your vehicle weigh 10,000 pounds? Does your vehicle weigh 50,000 pounds? Or 26-something thousand pounds? That's what it states in commerce. The UCC statutes or codes. They're codes. They're not law. Don't say UCC codes of law. They're not law. Or the laws of the UCC codes. They're not laws. They're what they say. Codes. That's it. They just want you to think that they're law. And they're not. And you just believe them without a question. Okay, that's the law. You said so. So I'll go by your hearsay and not question it. And not live my life my way under life, liberty, which is freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. You're not allowed any of that. You're not allowed your civil rights. You can look up the human civil rights. You know, you can look up what are the laws of the land. You can look up all this stuff, but you don't want to. You want to be dumb and blind. That's fine. That's your choice. Don't educate yourself on the truth. Just believe them. And follow them like a sheep. Right off the end of a cliff as a slave. You're a slave to authority. As long as you have to give them money, you know, to have something that they say you are to have, it should be free. If they want us to have a license, it should be free. If they want us to have insurance, it should be free. I mean, they want to keep the public safe. We're here to keep the public safe, so we're going to force you to have this and that. Well, then make it free. And we'll all have it, and there'll be no more tickets for not having any of that because it's given to us. Oh, no, we got to be able to write them tickets when people ain't got that stuff so we can make money. We can't generate revenue, extra money, if we give all this free to the public when we want to keep the public safe. Oh, that can't be free. You don't have the right to freedom. You can't be free to do it. You got to pay for it. And if you don't, well, then we'll bring a gun and point it at your face and say, you better do this or we're going to kidnap you, take you to a dungeon, and teach you a lesson, torture you. That's what it is. But you don't want to understand that. You rather be a slave. You rather just obey authority and be their slave and not question them. Because if we all did it, if 1 million people in this country did that, or I'll just say this, if 10 million people in this country did that, 10 million people, and said, F off, we the people don't have to obey you. Because we don't. The government was not created to rule over we the people. Politicians were not created to rule over we the people. Governors and mayors were not created to rule over we the people. Show me in the Constitution where governors, politicians, the president, mayors were created to rule over the people. And that we have to obey those persons of government. Because we're the people. They are persons. Person does not come out of people. It comes out of personnel of a business. The U.S. government is a corporate business and they are the personnel of that corporation. And then they call them a person or those persons of the government. Y'all need to wake up. You've been lied to and you just sit here and believe them like a good little slave.